Hi, I'm Gail Roper, Chief Information and Community Relations Officer for the City of Raleigh. They call me a boomster. That is a combination of a hipster and a baby boomer. Call it the mature creative. My blog site is the Community CIO. Forbes named Raleigh Most Wired City. We strive to make Raleigh the most connected city in America. Our goals are to deploy ubiquitous access throughout our city. What we're seeing in Raleigh is a demand for connectivity. We're establishing strategies and partnerships to make those dreams come true. One of the things as community relations officer, my mission, I call it, is to provide access and to find ways to deploy technology as an asset into the community. I was asked to come and share with you what strategies we were taking to deploy both open data, open source, and open access. We named our initiative Raleigh Connected. So we thought about why we wanted to do this, and the major reason was that we wanted to establish better relationships with our constituents, but we also wanted to do things around internal processes, to open doors to data analytics, to be able to establish better ways to improve our business processes. Along with that, we determined that we would have to bring in some external forces. Everything that we've done has been in collaboration with our local brigade, partnerships with the community. So we know for a fact that technology can drive economic development. I've seen it in my career in Austin, Kansas City, as you just saw. And we know that with a combination of partnerships within the organization that we can meet those needs. Proof of concept. This slide shows the open source tools that are part of our technology infrastructure. We're using these initiatives, we're supporting these initiatives with these tools for our web portal, for our service-oriented architecture, to support all of the areas in our combined organization. These are actually in place today. Chad Foley, one of my esteemed colleagues, is in the audience. And if you want to know more about the technical implementation of these tools, please speak with Chad. So some of the things that we did that I want to pass on to you. The City of Raleigh developed an open data policy. That policy really helps us to begin to standardize on data. It helped us to understand what we needed to do in order to make staff aware, in order to make our constituents aware of what we were doing. We can share that policy with you because it will be posted to our website. So, some of the things that I think would apply in other municipalities that are looking to do the kinds of open city efforts that we have in place. I would say one of the things that we found beneficial and that we've talked about a lot is legislation. We passed a resolution that was unanimously voted on, and that resolution gave us the opportunity to declare our city an open city jurisdiction. It also opened the door to education, staff awareness. We had the opportunity then to help our political body understand what open data was and what it wasn't. From a procurement perspective, we were able to define procurement guidelines. Basically, we consider open source solutions for every IT initiative. No bars hold. One of the commitments that I've made after attending this conference, this is my first Code for America Summit. One of the commitments that I've made is to look for vendors, companies that provide open source solutions for our organization, to do more of a job of seeking them out. They don't have the funding to have the marketing that maybe larger companies have. But that's one of my goals, and that's based on my being here. The other thing that we did is we put our money where our mouth was, so to speak, and hired an open data manager to drive a strategic timeline that we are adamant about making sure happens. So that's a factor that I think has helped us along. Then the other thing that I think was beneficial for us is, I mentioned the partnerships. Without the partnerships, both private sector partnerships, our partnership with Code for America and our Raleigh Brigade, and then also partnering across jurisdictions, making sure that we find this seamless open data portal that matters to constituents and that drives the quality of life that we want in our region. I'm going to turn it over to Jason. Jason is going to talk more about the community partnerships and the work that we do external to the city.
Yep. Thanks, Gail. Well, so like Gail said, I'm here to talk about the community side of this, and the open government and open data community looked a lot different than it is today, looking back at this timeline in 2012. It took folks like myself, one of my co-captains, Reed Sorosi. We were just like normal, like citizen activists. We're like in charge of our neighborhoods, really passionate about civic participation, and we learned two lessons from just kind of being these active citizens. One, we learned how to work with government. We were attending city council meetings. We learned how to work with staff. And in doing that, we formed relationships with those people. We formed relationships with staff, city council, and all the people involved with making that happen. Those two components allowed us to become change agents and actually make change happen and influence things happening in government. So that's kind of like the community side of this. What Reed and I didn't know is that there were actually other people out there that actually wanted to accomplish some of the similar things. We just happened to be enthusiasts for technology. We call ourselves civic geeks. And so I started writing stories about this. This is a story I interviewed our Mayor Meeker, our former Mayor Raleigh Mayor Charles Meeker, and we talked about this concept of how can you take the principles of open source and apply them to a living and breathing city. I was in the city council chambers when Gail and her team got the open government resolution passed. When we started doing the storytelling, Reed and myself and other folks started finding our other civic geeks, our tribe, so to speak. So by finding those other people, we united around a concept, City Camp. You guys have heard about that. It's an international unconference series that's designed to bring, thank you, open source and technology, now he messed up my flow, open source and technology to local municipalities. We've run a successful City Camp for 3 years. The first 2 years were under the City Camp Raleigh brand. Last year, we got really ambitious, and we said, we love our city, but we love our state as well. So we rebranded it as City Camp North Carolina. All 3 of those events have had over 200 people attend, and we've had some great assets come out of them. Out of the first series, we basically launched our Triangle Wiki, our version of Local Wiki. We had a great app come out of one of our city camps called Our Greenway. It allows you to see all of the Raleigh parks, the Greenway system, which is our multi-purpose path system that connects all those parks, as one gigantic fun park. That app uses open data available from the city. It integrates things like see-click fix, weather alerts, all on your mobile phone so that you can enjoy the parks and explore them. But unfortunately, we don't have like 3,100 miles like the other presenter did. We only have like about 150 miles of trails. All of this happened, right? It's great. The one missing element that the organizers found was that we wanted to take all this magic happening in a 3-day period and stretch it out over the course of a year. So that's when we got involved with the brigade. And our brigade looks for different ways to involve citizens. We attended an open data day earlier this year. It was held in the town of Cary, North Carolina, right here up front. And we shared the work we were doing with our brigade. We told them about Code for America, and now we're happy to have a brigade in Cary and in Durham. So we helped spawn 2 more brigades in our region. There's one thing I want to leave you with here is this concept that I'm looking at called the rise of the citizen CIO. It's this concept that citizens, and everyone in this room, we're really passionate about technology. How can we bring some of the technology that we know and love to our city? Now, if you're a CIO, I don't want you to be scared. We're not trying to overtake your infrastructure and do all those great things. But really, we look at this in a very valuable way, right? There's 2 things that make this really happen. The first one is collaboration. And the second one is partnership. If we don't collaborate and we don't form those partnerships, we're not going to have the great network that we have, and we're not going to make these great things happen. So Gail, any final thoughts?
Sure. I guess maybe my message would be to my fellow CIOs. The game has changed, so you got to get on board. It's okay to play in the sandbox. And I think the other takeaway I would say would be the partnerships. They're invaluable. You've got to reach out. You got to find out who has the same goals that you have to improve the quality of life in your communities and partner with those individuals.
Yep.
Thank you.